It's a fun trick. Well, welcome to the final presentations for the 2016 Open edX Conference Hackathon. I can't wait to see what you guys have all been working on in the last couple of days. I think what we'll do for the most part, I'm assuming that people are going to drive off their own laptops. If you happen to need to borrow a laptop, we have them. Just let me know. But otherwise, I'll assume that you're going to bring up your laptop in demo here. So we just have the connector up here. We should have plenty of time, but just keep it brief. Answer a couple questions if people have them, and then we'll move on. If people do ask a question, please be sure to repeat the question so that it can be picked up for the live stream and recording. We are actually live streaming this. So without further ado, what I'm going to actually do, rather than make people form a line or anything, is I'm just going to point from left to right. So Fanil, you're going last. And I'll point, and if you are going to present, then just come on up, and then I'll just keep on going down from the back left to the lower right. So in the back corner back there, do you guys have anything to present? Nope. So that would mean Mark, you want to be first? No? All right. Bill? Yeah, I mean, so we're not going to have a hard limit, but try and keep it within that parameter.
I won't ramble.
How about I tell you when 3 minutes are up?
Yeah.
You're like timer.
Grab your hand.
I just like being efficient.
I anticipate it not being a problem. So,
Oh, there we go. Yeah, it's good.
Sorry, just one more note. Just make sure to introduce yourself, say who you are, where you're from, and just a brief title for your project.
All right, my name is Bill DeRusha. I'm from edX. This is the course mode redesign project. Thanks to Max and Brian Wilson for helping me get a lot of the ideas and design work done yesterday. So for those of you who are unfamiliar with how course modes work in the system, we have a course enrollment. It basically relates a user to a course, traditional enrollment. And over here you can see that it has a mode. And that mode is just a string. And we also have course modes, which represent verified or honor or audit modes. And I didn't know exactly the best way to model this relationship formally, so I came up with my own. We kind of just do whatever. We assign a mode does not have to exist in the course mode table to be a valid mode that is attributed to a course enrollment. It's kind of the Wild West, and it sometimes works and it sometimes gets us into trouble. We keep track of all the things you can do in the system based on a mode, sometimes this way, but you have to know where these constants are. Some of these are in the course mode file, some of these are in certificates file, some of these are in views for courseware. They're kind of all over the place, and heaven forbid your new course mode that you're trying to introduce needs some of this functionality. It will be quite a pain to get yourself acclimated to the whole system. Sometimes we don't keep them in any kind of constant. You just have to know that this is filtering out audit because we don't want audit because audit doesn't allow certificates. Now, it used to 3 years ago, so that's fun too. So the new way can actually be modeled nicely with foreign keys and such. And the way we want to approach this is a course enrollment actually links directly to a course, which means that course mode, so it has to actually exist. And rather than keeping all of the capabilities of a course mode hard-coded in the system, when you get to the certificates code, it says if verified, then I can issue a certificate. If honor, then I can. If audit, then I can't. That can actually just be an attribute of the course mode. So you can ask whatever mode you've been handed, can I generate a certificate off of you, yes or no? And it's a lot more of an explicit way of asking your course modes what you should and shouldn't be able to do, so that you can create your own dynamically, and in one place you just say, yeah, this is certificate granting. Everywhere in the code that cares about certificates is going to do it the same way, rather than you needing to find all those places in the code base. 10 seconds, awesome. So eventually we will hope to keep, right now this is entirely backwards compatible, so nothing changes, but eventually a course mode could actually just look like this and not have any other information about it on there, and all of that can be stored in some kind of configuration model, or by the actual applications that care about the intricacies of what that functionality means. So the new way is we're going to have ID, ID verification as an example. It's now a property of a course mode, and so for the transition period, it can check if you actually have a course mode configured, and if you do, then use it. Otherwise, revert to kind of the old way of checking if it's in the verified modes constant that we have, et cetera, et cetera. There's an epic for this. There's a bunch of stories in here. So hopefully it won't just be me kind of carrying this ball forward, but there's an open pull request to do this first step, which is updating the tables and linking enrollments and course modes and course configs all together. And the system doesn't know or care about it except that it exists. So the second piece is to refactor each capability to start asking course modes about what it can do, rather than asking what course mode you are and making that up for themselves. There's some user-facing messaging that we can also upgrade. That's a lot of hard-coded, verified messages. And then once that's all taken care of, we can just get rid of the legacy code and have a much more declarative system. So that's it. Thank you.
All right, so moving left to right, Raji, no? Body, Matt, you have anything? Yeah?
So I'm probably not going to get as far as 3 minutes, so hopefully this will... It's coming. We'll make it. Come on. Oh. Thinking about it. Yeah. So I'm Matthew Harrington. I'm from the Open University. I'm not a programmer. I'm not very good at programming, but I built an XBlock, which is pretty cool. So before coming here, I had zero experience with command line, zero experience with Python. I know a tiny bit of JavaScript, but we've had some workshops this week, and I've had tons of help from you guys. So you guys are awesome. It's just this very basic click to reveal XBlock, complete with studio integration, which was actually way easier than I thought it was. So thanks to Regis for that, wherever Regis is. Somewhere. Thanks, man. Whoops. You can enter some HTML, put whatever you like in there. Gives you a little button, show and hide. And you can label it show or hide, comment, whatever you want to show and hide, or whatever you want to even call it showing and hiding. So yeah, that's the entirety of my XBlock, and that's there now and it's working. So you can have it as well.
Do you have anything? Oh, you? Oh, okay, Christine? I guess I should just go off the front row thing.
Oh, sorry. All right. I had the privilege of working with Juan from EduNext, with Hiro, who's a student at Kyushu University, and with Matthew from the Open University. on some UX-related things. So the first thing that we did, just three of us, we went through and we basically reorganized the sitemap. We started talking about navigation for the LMS. We started talking about how the navigation could become a slightly sort of different thing so that we could expose the full course. But in the course of thinking about what we needed to expose if we were going to minimize the presence of the navigation, we decided we just needed to start cleaning up the navigation and all of the stuff that goes within. So this is just a high level of all of the stuff that could be within, but it's most important to point out that we have 4 major buckets: the navigation, the content, any sort of administrative like info, and then information that's specific to our learner, so profile information. And then we also have some things in reserve for utilities like the calendar, personal reminders, notifications, and then just some help stuff. The other thing that we did is we worked on proto-personas. Proto-personas are things that basically the 4 of us got together. We talked about some learners that we had in mind, and these are just people that we know because we've talked to them for various reasons. And we ended up organizing all of this information, kind of grouping them, finding different continuums. They spanned a lot of different age ranges, so I think 60-ish was the oldest, and 19 maybe was the youngest. The commonalities that we found among our personas were that a lot of them like to take handwritten notes over digital notes. A lot of them question the value of certificates relative to their goals. And among wide distributions, what I mean by that is that on a scale of 1 to 5, we had people equally distributed among 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That they have a preference for social engagement. You can't really say that they have a high preference or a low preference. It's just across the board. Whether they reflect when they learn or in order to learn, or sort of acknowledge that, is something else that varies widely. And patience for learning also varies widely. So here's an example of one persona. This is number 1. And by the way, a proto-persona is something that, because it's very assumptive, this is something that we'd have to verify. So this is basically a starting point. But we could now go forward in the UX team at edX and think about who this person may be, and then begin to ask questions to see if they fit into these categories. So persona 1 is the person who likes to develop their expertise and show it off. They want to establish a specialization or a career, and so they're highly self-motivated. They're typically people who are self-taught, and they're driven to accomplish more, driven by what they motivated by what they accomplish, more than sort of becoming a specific sort of title. And so to translate this, I was thinking that maybe what works is that we could appeal to these learners by badges for achievement. We could have different roles for them within the LMS, just ways for them to feel a little more included, or to motivate them to participate more. The second persona is what we call the developing professionals. These are folks who are invested in the subject, but they have they lack expertise. And so they're motivated, but they're also very impatient with regards to their learning. And for this type of person, in terms of their potential outcomes or what this could mean or translate into, we're thinking that maybe this is the type of person who seeks answers and gratification, instant gratification. And maybe there's a way for us to redesign assessments or discussions or other engagement tools that better serve those quick needs for information. And then the third type of person is the I'm comfortable, I maintain, I enjoy. So this is someone who's already overcome their learning or professional barriers. And so their interests are pretty stable. They know what they like, but they're not necessarily driven to get someplace now. So this is the type of learner who appreciates depth. They appreciate resources, and so on and so forth. So that's pretty much it. You guys saw our Post-its. You guys saw our wall, I'm sure. But that's what we did.
All right, I'm going to try something a little bit different. Raise your hand if you have a presentation and you haven't gone yet. Okay. So let's start in the back middle. Just a second.
don't really have a presentation because I wasn't planning to present actually, but there's so many people that helped me out, and I think I kind of owe it to them to show what we've done. So the goal of our project actually was, so let me introduce by the group. So my name is Luis. I work for IBM and Big Data University, and I work with TJ from AppSembler on this project. And the idea was to provide easy SSL configuration for OpenEdX, so to allow people to automatically get an SSL certificate so they can run on HTTPS. And there are several benefits on those. First one, of course, is security, to allow your users to have a security when they enter forms, stuff like that. Also, SEO, like Google is starting to give more relevance to sites that use HTTPS, so you get like higher ranking on Google search, stuff like that. But getting certificates is painful, it's annoying, and used to be expensive. And then came the Let's Encrypt project, which allow free certificates for everyone, and to automate the process of getting a certificate and renewing it. So the idea was to integrate this workflow of auto SSL certificates into the OpenEdX deployment. So what we've done is, on the configuration repository, create a Let's Encrypt row that take a few defaults. So you put the domains you want to use. Usually it's just your domain, and also like studio.yourdomain, preview.yourdomain, all the stuff that you need to use, because Let's Encrypt, you don't have the star certificates, so you need to specify all the domains that you want to use. And a contact email, Let's Encrypt kind of requires that. So these are the basic two variables that you need to set. We also had to change the Nginx variables a little bit. So there's a new enable Let's Encrypt flag that you can set if you want. And when you're defining your certificates, you have to set as a hash. So it's not just one certificate anymore. It's so several certificates, and depending on the site, it's going to use a different certificate. So that's pretty much it. The way it works is that it's going to bring up a new endpoint on your server, on the Nginx server. So Let's Encrypt can validate your domain. And once it's validated, it's going to generate a certificate, and it's going to create a cron job to auto-renew it every 30 days. We couldn't test the auto-renew because they block you from renewing all the time. Like, it only allows you to renew 30 days before it expires, but the cron job is there, is supposed to do the right job. So that's it. No, it's here.
Are you planning to do it or otherwise?
Yeah, I plan to. It's not done yet. So. Oh, sorry. So the question was if this code is upstream. I said not yet. I'm still working on it. It's not working. It works like after you publish, like when you have the site up and running. We have a playbook that configures that afterwards. But the idea is to have integrated into the workflow. So you just run the EDX sandbox playbook, and all is done. So we are almost there.
If you need any help, an email.
Okay. Thanks.
Okay, Andy?
Gonna work. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get that far. Didn't get the joke. Well, while I'm waiting, hopefully this is coming up. So we did a hackathon project inspired by Stephen. So thanks, Stephen Birch, for coming up with this idea, which is to try and eradicate all the CoffeeScript from the platform. So this was myself, Eugenie, and Felipe. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to show you. I have a very nice deck to show you. Did you plug it in and unplug it? Oh, there we go. Magic touch. Okay, so it's only got 3 slides, so don't worry. Before we started, there was 148 CoffeeScript files in the platform. I was trying to paste the 148 emojis in, but I ran out of time, so there's a lot of emojis there. Exactly. So that, what's that? 84, good counting. So afterwards, the result of this now is that we have 6 pull requests, 1 of which is merged, 1 of which has 1 thumb and is waiting for a second, and 4 of which are in various states of progress. So as you can see here, Felipe, his first PR merged, removed a single coffee file, but it was a fantastic proof of concept that we could go all the way through and understand all the concerns. And he actually documented the process. So now that we have a page that he's going to be sharing with everybody that will show you how to do it. And so we're thinking this will be good for interns or for people, sort of bite-sized projects. People can just jump in and remove a file or 2. Felipe then did another couple of smaller areas too. I did the XBlock runtime and the instructor dashboard. The XBlock runtime has 1 thumb and is almost on the verge of merging. The instructor dashboard is much further away. And then Eugenie decided to take discussions, which was 36 files. He's beavering away. There's a lot more to do, but it's making major progress. And those 2, instructor dashboard and discussion forums, those are by far the biggest and the ones that are the most painful for us because we need to change both of those things all the time, and the coffee just really is a deterrent. So as you can see, we got a total of 60 files that we removed, or that will be removed. And I decided to give you a little pie chart. So 40% eradicated in our 2-day hackathon. So maybe with another 5 days or something, we could get the rest out. So that is our hackathon. Thank you.
All right. Who else has a presentation? All right. You want to go?
I need magic touch.
Well, we can try. Did you use? Oh, there we go. There we go.
Okay. My name is Pavel Martynov. I'm from Russian national platform OpenEdu. I'm from Russian national platform OpenEdu. So I know that sometimes our course authors need to rerun their courses, and so they also want to set intervals from published dates, same as at the course they are rerunning. So I've extended the course rerun panel. So you can see here now optional fields for saving intervals, course start date and course start time. So, and for example, if your previous course started at January 15th and you want to start a new course at 1st August, it will shift all published dates to the time delta from January 15th to 1st August. So, and for helping you, there are also tips with current start date and start time, and when you set other, for example, let's try let shift in 1 month and 1 hour. So this is our old structure from 7th March, and you can see that there are dates, some, and okay, so let's see. Yep. 10:02. Yep. Need to refresh it. Yep. It works.
Okay, another show of hands. Who else has a? All right, Vanille, Nate. Is that it? Cool. All right, Vanille. It'd be even better if we had like a progressive joke, so each person that came up got to tell the next part of it. Yeah, yeah.
All right. Looks like it's not happy. So you could just like add on to the joke as things go on. I have to. It looks like I have to reboot for some reason. Sorry.
It'll be like an exquisite corpse full of puns.
Sure. I mean, whenever I can't think of a joke, I always go to my old favorite. You know, what do you call something that's brown and sticky? A stick. That's right. You guys got it. The other one's, what do you call a fish with no eyes? Fish. Those are my two classics. You know? Yeah, you can't lose given that.
Danielle, do you know any good sodium jokes?
Nah.
It's my favorite.
It's like, I could tell you a UDP joke, but you might not get it. Yeah. All right.
Hey, Daniel, I tell you a TCP joke.
Okay, Max, tell me a TCP joke.
I am about to tell you a TCP joke.
I'm ready to hear the TCP joke.
Okay, this is the TCP joke.
Thanks, Max. All right. Still going. This is totally more than 3 minutes, BT dubs. Sorry, Molly. Just letting it ride. All right. Yeah. So. Let me just. You guys remember how like 2 years ago I gave this talk and everybody's like, "Great talk, guy. It was so helpful about hosting edX in production." Afterward, people were like, "You should totally make a page. We'll like have everybody contribute what they're doing." And so I made this page, which I think probably many people have seen. They're like, there's this page. Oh, cool. Oh, it's so sad. It's so, so sad. So, there it was, as it was today. A couple weeks ago, Omar from OpenCraft sent it out a PR that's like, hey, we just want the stuff that's not the databases, and it sort of follows the approach that I had originally talked about in here, where it's like, you take all your data stores, you put them in one thing, you take your application, you put them in the other thing. I'm like, we should have just made this a long time ago. It should have existed. So I took what he had, and he had just sort of he sort of made a playbook for this all application side of things. I started with that, and I was like, all right, let's write down some, we need to improve this documentation. This is awful. So I was wrote some documentation. I was like, oh wait, I'm writing documentation and half of it doesn't exist. So I'm like, wait, it doesn't exist yet. You hop over to, so I started writing the tooling on top of it. So what I added was a set of playbooks for small deployments. So we got here sort of persistence layer one, where we have a bunch of all of your data stores, your Elasticache, your Mongos, your MySQLs, and it just sits in one place. I took what Omar had and I removed some of the things that I felt should have gone back there. But mostly, the other thing I added, actually, hold on. It's important to always push up your stuff, because otherwise your demos don't quite work. A few. One of you guys done this before, Yeah, just get it up there. And of course I had rebase, so you got d-roll push-f. It's a very, very live demo. Go there, thank you. So, there we go. Yeah, so as I'm going along, finding small things here and there, like, oh, MySQL is binding to localhost. I can't actually get to there from here, and we have no way of configuring it. So small PRs for that. Turns out Rabbit also doesn't let you connect to anything but localhost, so a small PR for that. So I'm finding a few things here and there, but the end result is that there's these, all of these configs that people had to know about before basically gets distilled down into this sample inventory. Let me make that a little bit bigger for Max. I always have to make things bigger for Max, because I think he can't, I don't know. It's all right, there we go. So, find yourself some servers, figure out which ones you want to be stateless, figure out which ones you want to have all your persistence on them, put their IPs in there, and you can run these two playbooks, and you should be good to go. I'm about 95% of the way there. There's just a couple of services where the connectivity is still not working. But once those last few things are done, hopefully it'll be a lot easier for people to deploy, and deploy in a way where they can take their stateless servers. If they're on Dogwood right now and they want to try out Eucalyptus, they make a new server, put Eucalyptus on there, connect to the same backend, see how it works. And if they like it, tear down the old server, so it's more red, black, or blue, green, pick your colors, deploys, which is a lot saner. And you can run Ansible on your front ends without having to worry about accidentally clobbering all your data, this and that. So hopefully it makes people's lives easier. And hoping this lands in the next couple days.
Is the data store, with the way that it's set up, it's probably like a singleton?
Yeah, so right now it's a singleton, so I need to depluralize that, which is another thing that I noticed just like 5 minutes ago. I was like, oh. The goal is, so the reason it's a plural right there is because most of the data stores, Elasticsearch and Mongo and RabbitMQ, which I consider a data store, are all clustering. So I think there's a sort of medium-sized deploy where you would have those in a set of clustered things and MySQL. So that's sort of where it's going for sort of medium-sized deploys. But hopefully this gets people started and it gives them a place to scale out to, up to many hundreds of people without having to worry about much more than this. So that's it.
I think just Nate. Yep.
Okay. Is there a electrical cord plug? Okay, and HDMI. Wow, this is really low resolution. It's like do that. It 1080p? Can I choose 1080p? Oh wow, look at that. Okay. And can I mirror it? Arrangement. Oh, it says it's mirrored. Oh, okay. So I'm just on a weird. Ah, okay. Okay, so we've been working on this this Docker container management tool that we're calling Wharf, and it basically lets you manage Docker containers in the cloud. And we've been using this with customer projects and integrating it with OpenEdX. And this year, I gave a tutorial. It wasn't a developer tutorial; it was just a normal authoring tutorial. But I heard from other people that doing the the XBlock tutorial and some of the other ones, that a lot of the time was spent actually creating the dev stack environment on people's computers. Some people had Windows machines, some of those other machines. So this was an experiment to see, could we actually give people a Docker-based dev environment in the cloud? So I'm just going to show you kind of how it works for a non-dev stack environment, and then I'm going to show the thing that I. Now let me. Why is it? I don't want the audio. How can I kill the audio? Can I kill audio? I guess.
It's HDMI. I think you have to mute
Yeah, I did mute, but it's still coming through. Well, I'll just let my former voice talk here. Prepare an environment for the student with that Twitter IPython notebook already installed. So I would create a new container. We'll give it a name. Twitter IPython notebook samples. Okay. We'll create that. And it's now been created. It's running. So if I click on this link, this HTTP link, it will take me into that environment. And you can see that it's empty. There's nothing here. So I want to actually add some instance. So if I click upload, I've already got this Twitter one ready to go. So I just click open. Oh, okay. I'll just let myself down. I upload that. And this is now installed inside this container, ready to go, ready for student use. Make this available for student use. So I need to snapshot that as an image. So I hit save as image, and then we'll just say student Twitter notebook. And you can see it's now saving that image. It's been saved. And so if I click on new project, we'll give it the same name, student Twitter notebook. And you can specify here how long you want this to run. The default is 2 weeks, but that might be too long. Maybe you only want to give the student 4 days. We click create, and we now have a student Twitter notebook project here. We go into advanced container launcher. Paste that in here. And call this student Twitter notebook. Publish it. And you'll see when I launch this, similar to what I showed you before. before, I get a unique environment, and I can go look, and there's my IPython notebook already loaded. Okay, so that's for IPython notebook, and this is still a work in progress, but I just want to kind of show you what I've been doing over here. So here's my Cloud9. So has anyone heard of Cloud9? It's like a web-based IDE. So with Cloud9, you can actually edit code just in the web browser, and you get like a full-featured IDE. So I thought, well, wouldn't it be cool if we could connect the Cloud9 IDE to the DevStack code directory? So then I made another image down here, which is this one, epsimilar edX Lite Cypress. And the idea is that you connect these two containers together. So you have your DevStack runtime running in one container, then you have your Cloud9 running in the other container, and then you create a project out of that, and we have that. Where'd the project go? I guess this is a different version. So, and then you can essentially launch a container and get the IP. So I'm going to show another video of actually editing edX code using Cloud9. And since it's in the cloud, have you ever been, out and about? You don't have your laptop with you, and someone calls in and is like, "Oh, there's a bug on the edX site. You got to fix it." So figured, well, it's in the cloud. Why don't we do this on our mobile phone? So this is me trying to edit. Oops, that's the wrong one. This is me trying to edit some edX code from my phone. So you probably recognize the iPhone. So there's my edX directory, and I can just navigate through here, find some Django apps I want to edit. So this is the Cloud9 running in the cloud, edX DevStack running in the cloud, and I'm editing the code from my phone. Just kind of crazy. I don't know why you'd want to do this. You can see it's quite awkward to navigate. You got to scroll up and down, and then I couldn't actually get the code open, but okay, file, menu, and then you can navigate, and I think the only thing I could open was the circle.yaml file. It's just more me not understanding how this Cloud9 IDE works. It works much better on your desktop computer, believe me. So there, I got the circle.yaml file open, and I can go in here and edit it and save. And it also gives you this terminal, so you can actually run commands. Gives you like an SSH prompt where you can run paver, or you can run edX bin update right in your browser. Obviously, still a lot more work to do, but it's a sneak peek. That's all I got.
All right, last call. Anyone else? No? No? Okay, all right, well, thank you all. Thus concludes the proceedings of the 2016 Open edX Conference. Thank you all for coming, and I look forward to seeing you all next year in Madrid.